Curtin Radio.
Now, going out to see bands, clubbing, or just to see friends is part of everyday life for so many people. However, if you have a disability of any sort, you may need support to do this. So we welcome Gig Buddies. I called it Jig Buddies earlier, I apologise. Gig Buddies Sydney. And to tell us all about that today, and joining us is Carol Smail, CEO of Gig Buddies. Good on you, Carol. What a great idea.
Well, thank you very much, and it's lovely to speak to you.
Thank you for joining us, and I hope you're going to be someone that's going to inspire here for it to pick up in Western Australia as well.
Well, I always say to people, if it works in Sydney, it will work anywhere, because we've been through lockout laws, venues closing, you name it. So if we can pull it off here,
yeah,
I think Perth should be a breeze.
Well, with that word of inspiration, I'm sure someone listening will perhaps take it up. So, Carol, good on you for doing this. Were you the one that thought of the idea?
No, I'd love to say that I did. I was at the story is, I was at a conference in Birmingham in the UK about 6 years ago, a disability conference, and I met a guy called Paul Richards from Brighton. And Paul had been in a punk band and with 5 members, and 3 of the members had learning disability, and they started getting a bit of traction in Brighton. There's lots of venues there and lots of people going out, 5 universities around there, so lots of people going to gigs, and they started getting some gigs in pubs. And the friends of the guys in the band with learning disabilities, they used to come to hear them, but they used to go home after the first song. And he said to them, "Why do they do this? Don't they like our music?" And they said, "No, they have to go because the staff are clocking off." So their shift finishes at 8 or 9, so they have to get back to the house and clock off.
Oh,
so
I see.
He thought, well, this isn't right.
Yeah.
Brighton Council in the UK were doing every year they do a Bring Us an Idea thing, and they give £5,000 to the winner. So Paul went and pitched this idea of why wouldn't we get a volunteer who loves a certain type of music and match them with a person with a disability who loves a certain type of music, and then that takes away the need to be paying somebody to go and support them.
Oh, God.
So he won, and that's how Gig Buddies got started in Brighton about 7 or 8 years ago.
Sometimes it's just a simple idea, isn't it?
Yeah. And, of course, the thing was that, like he was saying, a lot of people who are already going out to gigs, so you're not asking a volunteer to do something that they're not already doing. You're not asking them to do additional on top of their probably already busy lives. And a lot of the volunteers, as our volunteers say to us, nobody likes my music, so suddenly I've got somebody to go out to gigs with. So everybody wins,
Yeah, of course it's a win-win. Yeah. So can I just ask you, when you say learning disability, to what level are we talking about here?
Well, in our organisation, ACL Disability Services, which is our parent organisation, our brief has always been adults with mild to moderate learning disabilities and autism. So I guess to make the project work, you generally would have somebody who is able to probably be verbal, be reasonably mobile, although we do have people with CP, and that isn't really an issue. I mean, everything can be overcome if you want it to. But generally someone who can form and maintain a friendship with somebody, who is able to. And also from the point of view of the volunteer is not a support worker, and we make that very clear. So it is about a befriending scheme. It is about 2 people getting to know each other, sharing common interests and forming a friendship, and then expanding both their social circle.
So can I ask you how long it's been going, Carol, and what has the reaction been to all of this, both from the volunteer point of view and the person?
Yeah, we are having our 5th birthday next month, so we'll be 5 years old, which is very exciting. And this was a little project that I just came back with an idea and said to the staff, look, we'll just do it on a Friday afternoon, when we've done our other work. We've got 1,000 people on our database now. And currently got about, I think, 140 matched pairs, and then there's a whole lot more sort of waiting in the wings. But a lot of our buddies go out anyway, even if they're not matched, because once you become part of Gig Buddies, there's a whole lot of social stuff that we do anyway, which is all about going out really late and not coming home to like 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's really getting people ready
together
for that.
Anyway.
Often what is something they've never ever done before.
So can I just ask how it works? When you team up a buddy with, so it's a one-on-one situation, it seems. Do they actually physically go and pick up the buddy and take them to the venue and sit with them?
Yeah. There's many different sort of permutations because of just there's many different people in the project. So what we do is we do a whole matching process. So we find things, we do things like obviously interests, music type, what sort of sporting team you like or what sport you like, because often we've got quite a lot of sports buddies as well.
Yeah.
And then we do location, because we're not going to match somebody, say in equivalent Fremantle with somebody in Geraldton, because that's going to be problematic. So we try to do reasonable location, age, because generally if you're sort of 30, then you're probably into a certain genre of music as opposed to if you were 50.
Yeah.
And then we do, then we kind of get them together, and also gender if that's what somebody wants. Some people feel more comfortable with a male or a female. It just depends. So we find a match, what we think is a match. We give both a de-identified profile. Say, do you think this will work? They both say yes. So we get the volunteer in for 5 or 6 hours training. We do police checks, reference checks, all of that, same as we do with our disability staff, and then we go to a matching meeting. The 3 people go to the matching meeting, one of our staff and the buddy and the volunteer, and you keep your fingers crossed that it all works, and it generally does, and then they decide what they're going to do for the first gig, and if they want us to go, we go on the first gig with them.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You've got it really covered. But can I ask you then, what has been the reaction to you from them individually about it? Do they feel exhilarated by the fact they can get there and they've got a mate with them, that sort of thing?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, some people meet each other at the venue, some people meet each other at their houses, some people meet at train stations. There's 1,000 different ways of doing. I think from both parties, from the buddy, it's often this is the first person, apart from their family, or someone who's been paid to be in their life. It's the first time they've had a genuine friend, and all the things that means. For the volunteer, most of our volunteers are pretty much from the corporate sector or quite full-on jobs, and they all come to us and say, I'm a bit over giving $100 every year or just doing one day, packing boxes. I want to do something meaningful because I've been pretty lucky, and I want to do something that I will love and I want to keep doing. So we've really met, as I said, all those needs. Everybody wins.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And what I can see as far as change is going about understanding people more that have got challenges. I mean, mainstream, you've got comedians, you've got models, you've got people appearing in movies now. It's really, dare I say there were barriers. They're all being broken down now, aren't they?
That's right. And often, a lot of people will say, I've never met anybody with a disability, I've never interacted with anybody with a disability, and then you'll speak to them afterwards and they'll say, actually, I don't know what the big deal was, because we're all people at the end of the day.
That's exactly.
So it's helping to break down those societal barriers as well. We have socials where we, quite often on a Friday night, we'll just say, look, we're all going down to a pub in this part of Sydney, come down and join us. And we ring before and say to the publican, do you have we're going to bring like 40 people, 40 of our friends. Do you have space? Is there a band on?
Yeah.
Who are you? And, no, we had one guy say, no, we can't have people with disabilities in our pub scaring our patrons away.
No.
So what we did was the Friday before, a couple of buddies and volunteers went and had dinner there and watched the band, and we rang the publican on the Monday and said, we just want to say thank you so much. Our buddies had a brilliant time. And he said, I didn't see them.
There you go.
Because they just look like you and me, you know.
Well, you know, this is what I'm just sort of saying. I think in the past, a lot of people didn't know quite how to deal with people that probably needed a bit of help, you know, and the show a challenge out there. And now for him to sort of say that is a very old-fashioned attitude, definitely.
But he changed. We actually had a function there. And he said, you've absolutely opened my mind. And I think that's the way to do it, not be angry, but show people, you know, that this is just another person. And also someone that's coming and spending money in your establishment.
Yeah, good point. Turning 40 people away with a profit is a bit of a silly thing to have done, that's for sure. Carol, this is great. Is it just in Sydney?
At the moment, we're just in Sydney. In the UK, there's now 12 branches.
Oh.
It's a bit easier to do it when you've got a smaller country, you know. But anybody wants to talk to us about somewhere else, please, you know, go on our website and get in touch.
What a great idea. Look, I would put anything on it, any amount of money if I had it, on the fact that there will be people listening at the moment, or people will pass on this to other people that would love to do something like this. It's a win-win. There's no two ways about it. And so your website is Gig Buddies, G-I-G Buddies.
GigBuddiesSydney.org.
Oh, Sydney.org. Okay, we've got that. And we've got your contact details here. Congratulations to everyone concerned. A fabulous thing that you're doing, Carol. Thank you so much for telling us about it.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Carol Smail from Gig Buddies.